Okay, guys, let's talk about finding slope from a line. When we're finding slope, we're checking on the rise compared to the run. And so when we have a line, we can do that by taking any 2 points on the line, and it doesn't matter which two. So I'm going to take these two. Okay, we use Halloween colors here. And I'm going to make a right triangle. We're trying to find the pattern that continually happens throughout the line. The slope is a pattern that's continually happening. And I'm going to see how far this is going up or down. That's going to be my rise. So in this case, it goes up 4 to get to the next point. So I'm going to put that as a positive 4. Let's change this color. And my run is going to the right too. And it's going to the right. Notice the numbers are getting bigger, so it's going to be a positive 2. And I could simplify that 4 over 2 to 2. The slope is 2. But I want to show you anytime you have a whole number, you can always go over the number 1. I'm going to keep it in a fraction form just because I want to address the rise over run. This means that anytime my slope rises by 2, my run is going to the right by 1. So notice 1, 2 over 1, 1, 2 over 1. Not sure if you can see that very well. Let's try with the highlighter. So I go over 2, I'm sorry, up 2 and across 1. Up 2 and across 1. I could follow it anywhere on this line. I'm going up 2 and then over 1. And then up 2 and then over 1. And every time I do that, I'm going to hit the line because that's the pattern that's happening in the simplest form, the most simplified form, 2 over 1. That's my slope. So let's take a look at another line and see what happens. This line's a little bit different. Okay, let's take a look at this line. What's happening? Now, I want you to understand that the bigger the number, the more slanted the line is, right? That's what slope is measuring. So we have this line here. Now, I want you to notice that if you're at the y-axis and you read it like a book going down, the line is going down, okay? That means it's going to have a negative slope. And you could also put vertical lines on the end of your line. And you see that it makes the upright letter N. That means the slope is going to be negative. Let's change this color here. So now I'm going to make my right triangle, and I'll use this point and this point this time. From here, you'll notice to get to the next point, I start on the left and move to the right. So to get to the next point, 1, 2, 3, 4, I went down 4. I'm going to note it as a negative number. And then I went across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I went across to the right 6, so that's going to be positive. If I went left, I would represent that by a negative number. So then I have rise over run. And my rise is negative 4. And my run is a positive 6. So now I want to simplify those numbers. I can divide them each by 2. And I'm going to get negative 2 over 3. That's my slope for that line. A negative slope or a line that's going down has to show a negative number. And I just want to show you the pattern. So I could continue this pattern down. Whoops, sorry about that. Let's put this line back so we can watch that pattern that's happening here. I'll stick that extra point in there. So if you notice, I'm going down 2 to the right 3, down 2 to the right 3, down 2 to the right 3. That should always hit my line. That's how that works. So let's look at the special cases. We have a few special cases, or really just two. Now let's say we have a line that looks like this. This is a horizontal line. And we want to do rise over run. We really can't make a right triangle. But I want you to be thinking about this like a ski slope. And when it's a horizontal line, there really is no slope. It's not slanted at all. Remember that we're measuring the slant of the line. So this is a zero slope. Because there is no rise and no, the run could be any number. I can go over 2, I could go over 4, could go over 5, but it's not going up or down at all. So no matter what number I put on the bottom, let's try this. No matter what number I put on the bottom for my run, the slope is always going to be equal to 0. So if you see a horizontal line, it's going to have a 0 slope. Now let's look at the other. You might have something that looks like this. Again, you cannot make a right triangle, but the slope's not 0 here. I like to think of it in terms of skiing. If you were at the top of this skiing, right, you're trying to ski down the mountain. This is so steep, it's undefined. It's so crazy, it's undefined. There's really not a number you can assign to the steepness of this line. It's so steep. So this is an undefined slope, even though you can't make that triangle. And the reason it is because if you look how it's the rise can be any number. You could put any number. You could put 1,000,000 in there for the rise because it's so steep. It's just going down. But when you think about it, how much are you running to get to the next point? You're not going left or right, anything. So you're running 0. And whenever we have a 0 in the denominator, we can't divide by 0. So it's going to be an undefined slope. And that's how you'd find slope from a line.